Hey, welcome to the scene 757. Oh, I
It's okay.
did the
You
whole
diss
thing.
me. You diss me, man. You diss
Hey,
me. It
hey,
happens. It
we
happens.
have more locals only. You didn't say that part.
757.
Hey, welcome. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. That was quick, right?
I'm sorry. I was just listening to that music, that intro song. It had a nice little groove to it, didn't it? What is that, by
That
the way?
intro song.
What
I don't
is that? Where do you guys
know.
get that? Where did you guys get that from?
I don't know. It sounds like a moon song or something. Spanish. It's
I
Spanish,
think
I
I've
guess.
heard it before. I think I have. I have heard
Have
it.
you?
I come out of my hard drive for like 5 years before it
Oh,
ever came
wow.
on. Yeah, for 5 years.
There you go.
I'm still not
So,
happy with it.
well, welcome back. This is our second time we've done a remote. I'm so proud of us
I
by
am
being able
too.
to do this. And we're excited. We have a musical guest with us this evening that we'll
Blues
be
man.
talking to. Who is it, Brian?
The legendary one and only heavyweight. I call him the captain just because I don't know. He got the
The
captain hat on.
captain?
Yeah, he's really a nice guy. Mr. Paul Urban. He's been around the blues community for a long time. And the captain, his not only has he been doing his thing, he's also been helping others, and he's been bringing in young talent and people into his project, and
Awesome.
he's going to give him back. You know, he's a giver of himself. So yeah, he's a great guy, and I'm glad we finally. By the way, he's been asking me for almost a year to get on the show. So
That's awesome. That's awesome.
nice
Let's
guy.
bring him on.
Yep,
Hello, Mr. Urban.
there he
Paul
is.
How's it
Urban.
going?
Hey.
Good to see you this evening.
Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, man.
Great. We're so glad you could join us. Here, I have a picture of you. I didn't know if you knew that.
Oh yeah, that's a great
Woo! He's
picture.
pointing
Yeah,
right at y'all.
yeah.
Love it.
Urban wants you. I like that
He's
one.
gonna enlist you in the musical army, right?
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
That's right. The Army of Paul.
So Paul, I'm gonna switch gears. Paul, tell us a little bit about you. I'd like to know when did you start playing music and why?
Well, I guess I'll answer the second half of the question first. I started playing because my older brothers both had bands. And so by the time I got into middle school, I mean, they were in high school and they're doing like, high school dances in the community center and that kind of stuff. And I'd go to, some of their shows if my parents took me, and there was always band equipment all over the living room on the weekends. So those guys would practice. And so my next oldest brother, Dave, started showing me some chords on the guitar. I was around 14. And I wasn't really that serious. I fooled around with it a little bit. I kind of looked up to those guys, and but when I was 15, I started getting serious about it and started practicing all the time. And then when I was 16, I got a really good guitar teacher that took me from being a sort of a journeyman, novice sort of guitarist to a professional guitar player in a year.
Wow.
Which
Oh,
I put in
wow.
work.
In a year? One
Yeah,
year.
I started playing with adult bands, and I was at that point 16.
Wow, that's neat. Did you see we have somebody from Australia? Hi, Rosie.
Yeah, somebody from Australia.
Good
Oh,
morning.
that's great.
I mean-
Hey, the land down under.
Oh, no pun.
Land down under. So okay. So is there something that you were listening to? Did you just know that you had some type of talent with it? I mean, what was your
No, I don't
indication?
think it's really hard to know in the early stages if you have any talent or not. I mean, talent is something that has to be not only developed but discovered. People aren't born with signs around their neck. Musician, engineer, doctor. You have to. That's a process, a journey. Not only a process of learning, but a process of discovery as well.
That's right.
And
That's
some
right.
people discover that they have it, and others would like to do it, but discover that they can't. And some people don't really have the talent, want to do it, but never discover that they can't. So you have them around too. And
That's
but I guess those
interesting.
are the three categories of aspirants to musical endeavor.
Right, right. So about how long have you been playing then?
I started playing in 1969. So
Wow.
I guess that would be at this point about 54 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I played probably about 51 of those years professionally.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. So did you always, were you always in this area? Did you come, do you come?
Where are you from? Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I was born in the suburbs of Philadelphia, Bucks County specifically, and that's where I went to. I grew up and went to high school, and then I, my father lived in Maryland, so I went to high school for a year in Rockville, Maryland, and then I went to college. So I went to the University of Maryland. And so I kind of got a connection with the Philadelphia area, but also a connection with suburban Maryland kind of thing too. So,
Awesome. You're allowed to talk to the audience, just to let you know. So there's somebody,
Hey, there's Steve.
Saying hi to you, Paul. So Brian, go ahead with your questions. I feel like I'm
No, I met Paul. Gosh, how long ago? I mean, when you
probably about almost 10 years ago, I would say.
Yeah, at least 10 years
ago.
By the way, I did want to mention this real quick. This is going to speak volumes of your characters. I just saw JD pop up. JD called me today and we were chatting, and he mentioned a story to me. And I'll just say this about Paul. JD had a stent put in. And he had like a gig at the Thirsty Camel that week, and he did not want to cancel it.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he said, "You know what? Do you know what Paul did?" He goes, "Paul came and loaded my stuff in, hung out, and then loaded my stuff out."
Yeah,
I said, "That's a stand-up kind of move right there." So,
well, thanks. I don't really, I don't do things because I want to advertise that kind of stuff.
But I think
it feels necessary to do. I want to help people out if I can.
Right, and that's kind of, I guess, the way I was going with my questions, because like Sandy touched on some of the pertinent stuff, how you got into it, what made you an urban legend. There you go.
I don't know if I'm a legend or not. My last name is that part of it's right.
No relation to Keith, but your work. So when did you release this with Silver Wings? When did you release that? When did that?
In the summer of 2022, and it was done, I think, around May or maybe June.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did the Bandcamp thing in July, which Jeff Mazie of Your Magazine considers to be a sort of a record release because it's self-produced and self-released. I don't have a record label.
Right.
Did we want to do a little sample of it for you?
For
your Bandcamp album?
Well, I mean, if you'd like to, if you
sure. I'd love to. I have it pulled up here.
I didn't know this was happening. Go ahead.
Huh? Yeah. Hold on.
No, I love it. Go ahead.
Oh, hold on. See, this is technology, man.
It's misproduction. There we go.
Oh, how about that? That picture was.
There you go.
Walked along this road for many miles, tried to be a friend, tried to make folks smile. Sometimes all you get back is pain, but with the sunshine you get a little rain.
That's the truth, brother.
You things along the way. If someone wants to leave, don't convince them to stay. Love is just a game, some folks say, but it's one you gotta learn day by day. Let me tell you something, my friend.
Good stuff, man.
Over and over again.
You just gotta get to the hook.
Sometimes you think you got
There's the hook.
Ooh, listen to that.
Yeah. Over and over.
Ah.
Yeah.
So I was going to say the one thing that really kind of pops out, and I said, I mean, this is one of the highest compliments in the world. The unison lines, the guitar lines in unison, very kind of almost Allman Brother-esque, and then there's opposing, counter melodies kind of going on there, and that's really, Kurt, really cool stuff. And throughout the entire album, I kept hearing a lot of that theme, which I thought was beautiful. Then you let guys showcase their own talents as well. Your slide player or if you were playing slide or whomever, you know what I mean? So really cool production work.
Done by Joe Hardesty, who lives on a Great Bridge, which is here not far from where I live in Chesapeake.
Really good slide work on that. Yeah.
I brought in some younger guitar players on the whole album. I mean, I play lead some of the time, but not all the time. Another guy was Matty Taylor, who's from Richmond, but he's been going to school at Wesleyan for the last, I guess, 4 years. He's going to graduate this spring. I brought him in, and I think some of the keyboard work was done by Tori Slade. Some of it was done by Hamlin.
Yep.
And the drums, Cole Morgan, also Dwight Epps.
Yeah. I saw that Cole. Now Cole's a School of Rock guy, right? He was a younger School of Rock guy, or at the time
he might be. I don't know. And of course, the bass was done by David Hunter. He played.
True story. I met David at the old Mark IV years ago. I met him in that jam session at the old Mark IV on Church Street.
Played on Phase 2, and now he's playing with These Phenomenal Sounds.
Yes. Okay.
Awesome.
And back to some of the players. Julian Burrell, Cal. Of course, everybody knows Cal Hammond. Tori Slade. There's a guy who I just recently met at Norfolk Academy.
Yeah.
He was running down for a production, and I didn't even know he played keys. He's like, "Hey, you know Paul Urban?" I'm like, "Of course I know Paul Urban." He's like, "Yeah, I did some work with him." So I was like, "All right." Shout out to Tori tonight.
Yeah, and he's done some live gigs with me too.
Very cool.
And they're on the YouTube channel. You can see Tori playing his keyboards. Right.
Yeah. So I mean, it looks like, and of course, Matty Taylor. I mean, I'm a huge fan of his, and I think he likes me too. So I think he's a great kid, and up and rising young lion. He's one of those young lions on the rock.
Yeah, he's a really. I met him, I guess, when he first came to the area. I guess nearly 4 years ago, at the Nacho Blues Network monthly blues jams over at Big Ugly Brewing in Chesapeake again, Great Bridge.
The birthing ground.
Matty came there and he was playing. That's where I met Joe Hardesty too. Both of those guys. And so, Joe, I think I met in like 2019. I asked him to play with me. He did a bunch of gigs with me.
Very cool.
Matthew Taylor, I met him around 2020. And he's done a whole ton of gigs with me.
Oh. Hey, Tim Tuna.
By the way, somebody said, good to see you doing well. Let's talk about that real quick, if we may. You had a pretty serious health scare here, if you will, was this after the album or before it?
It was after the album.
Okay.
I finished the album in I guess May or June of 2022. And then in August of 2022, I discovered that I needed some work done on my heart.
Oh.
So that work comprised open heart surgery.
Oh.
And
oh, wow.
They did that and it was successful. So I'm now pretty much recovered.
That's good.
Fixed me up using my own parts, so I didn't have to get any plastic or metal parts like that. So
that's great.
Yeah.
I had the surgery done in October of I guess it was this last year, October 2022. And I started gigging again in the end of January 2023. So within 90 days, I was back doing what I was doing.
Wow, in 90 days.
Yeah,
that's
of course,
amazing.
I couldn't keep the same schedule. I mean, I was doing a lot of dates. 2022 was an incredible year. I never played so much.
Wow.
I was doing
right after the pandemic.
About 10 to 12 gigs a month. I never did that many.
So how can we get you more? No, I seriously, yeah, man. It's like I'm listening to your stuff, and I'm like, you should be out of this area doing stuff. I mean, you should be playing Stubbs Barbecue in Texas or something.
Yeah, I'd love to be doing that kind of stuff, and and I'd love to do it with the people that I did the album with, but Brian, I think you probably know this because you play at a pretty high professional level, and it's not just the playing or the songwriting or the singing. You need a good agent, you need a good publicist, you need a record label, a real one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And there's so many, there's no shortage of talent in this country. I mean, it's literally on the streets. You see people busking, you know what I mean? So, having talent is very similar to buying a lottery ticket. When you have talent, it's like a lottery ticket in that that's your entrance into the music game.
Right.
But it's no guarantee that you're going to win. In fact, the odds are against you.
I know a couple self-produced artists like Mike Zito. You know Mike Zito?
Yeah. But he has distribution though, through a larger label. So I mean, I guess maybe using that term self-produced may have been a little misleading on my part. I didn't mean to be, but distribution probably is more important. And with a publicist, they can get you, access to commercial airplay and all that kind of stuff, which is almost impossible to do on your own. And the distribution thing too.
Yeah.
There are a few examples of people who did self-distribute and were able to do it on a national basis, but they're like, you could count them on this hand.
Right.
Yeah.
And over the last 40, 50 years.
Yeah. Unless you had a really famous last name.
By the way, shout out to Anthony Rosano and the Ruse are back in town.
Yeah, and he's getting a lot of help from Tab Benoit.
Yeah.
And that's
it doesn't hurt. It does not hurt.
It's not hurting. And once again, it's that distribution thing because, I don't know Tab personally. I've never met him. I mean, I like his music. I think he's a very good guitar player. But I think he does have some sort of a distribution network, national for his music. And, and airplay, and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
That's right. So what's next for you? What is your next big event or gig or where are you at?
Well, I mean, just on a ho 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 Merry Christmas kind of thing or Happy Holidays, I guess. I'm playing at Blue Pete's.
I'm there at the end of the month.
Beach. This Saturday night. Brian, you played there too.
I'm there the 29th, I think. Yeah, I'm there at the end of the month.
Playing at Blue Pete's because the people there are really cool. The food is great. It's a beautiful location, kind of semi-rural, like out in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, man.
And the management's really great. I mean, you just go in there, you do your job. They give you everything that you need to do it, and then they let you do it.
Yeah.
So
it's not exactly.
It's an earlier gig too, right? So
excuse me.
It ends at like what 10 or something, 10 at night.
I think it ends at. I play 6 to 9 there.
Oh, 6 to 9. Yeah.
But it used to be a hunting lodge, so they got all these neat stuffed ducks and deer heads and all that kind of stuff all over the place.
You ought to go to see. You got in Jacksonville. Have you ever been to Whiting's camp? It's like I used to live there in Jacksonville. It was in Mandarin, and it's a taxidermy place, and it's real famous because Leonard Skinner used to go there, Greg Allman, all of them. And
no, I haven't been to Jacksonville since the 80s.
Yeah, yeah. So Whitey's Fish Camp. Whitey's Fish Camp is the name of it. And, it's on the Julington Creek, so you ought to check it out.
I've heard of it. I'm going to look up on my phone. Probably.
It's all taxidermy stuff inside. Like they've got a giraffe. They have like tigers and.
But do they have Budweiser though?
There you go.
I don't know if they have Budweiser.
Come get stuffed at Whiting's Fish Camp.
Don't get stuff. There's alligators in the creek there. I used to ride a canoe on that creek. So
yeah, don't fall in the water.
No, definitely no. So anyway, Go ahead.
Sorry, back to the tracks. Some of the tracks. I'm just gonna. By the way, I think the mix. Where did you get it recorded? By the way, I thought your vocals sounded amazing. I thought the mix. I thought sounded good. Yeah, it really was. Yeah. So I'm just curious who did that, and did you co-produce, or did somebody else help you with it, and where was it
I,
at?
I recorded it at Sonic Studios in Portsmouth.
Sunclaw. Okay.
So Joe Talley is one of the owners slash engineers, and Steve Sandcliffe is the other owner slash engineer. And both of them, engineered. Sometimes they engineered the tracks together. Sometimes one would do a track, and they would switch hit off and on because they both had pretty high-powered day jobs.
Right.
I think Joe is won a Veer Award for his production and recording, and he's an executive at a international precast concrete company.
Very cool.
Located, I think, in Norfolk. And Steve is a maritime lawyer, works for a big firm in Norfolk. So,
Oh, wow.
those guys, that's why they probably had pinch hit it, back and forth with who was going to be engineer for that night.
Yeah. And I was listening to, I believe, MP3s, and they sounded to me almost as good as Waves. And, Waves are like,
those guys, they did a really great job. They were located in an old factory in an industrial park off of London Boulevard in Portsmouth. But I think that they've decided that they're going to move. They're looking for a new location.
Okay.
Sonic Studios, Portsmouth. Highly recommended. Joe Talley, Steve Sandcliffe.
Shout out. So the vocals kind of good.
Yeah, page, you can find them on there.
I kept going through all the tracks, Paul, and I was like, okay, there's so many little catchy ones. Of course, Tidewater Rising was the instrumental on the album, right?
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about that. Who was playing? What was the concept behind it? I almost heard like a Skinner-esque, meaning this in a good way, and a Blackberry Smoke.
Yeah.
Do you want to play a sample of it?
Okay. I see.
You got a sample?
As a kind
Let's go right in the middle. Let's go right in the middle of this. Beep.
Yeah, Blackberry Smoke is kind of a continuation of the Allman Brothers and Skinner and Marshall Tucker. I've always liked blues rock. Johnny Winter was a big
absolutely.
And of course the Southern rock from the 70s and 80s. I liked a lot.
It had great vibes. Yeah.
So that's why I kind of wrote Tidewater Rising, because I was playing that was probably one of the first, maybe second or third song that I wrote for the album. And I was playing a lot with Joe Hardesty, who's a big Skinner fan, and so he was really I was kind of vibing off of him. And, so I put this song together, I wrote the double leads and, the chord progression and all. And he played he probably played half the solos in it,
Cool. Do you want me to sample it?
Yeah, that's a great song. Yeah, play a little bit of that.
All right, let me get there and share. I like that.
And it's got a change in the middle, or like towards the end, it's got this change where it breaks down and whole thing slows down and it takes different kind of, So that, that was one that kind of like stuck out. I was like, it kind of had that same kind of, vibration. I was digging, man. And then, it was, let me see, by the way, what am I going to do? It was the slow one you did. You had all these like some jazz chords thrown in there, altered, sharp nines,
it's
stuff
like that. I mean, I was kind of inspired by a little bit by Ray Charles, like on that one, and also because I've listened to a lot of 60s, 70s, 80s R&B, which I really, I really got into that, and that's where a lot of the chord stuff is coming from. I really think it's very important to learn how to be a good rhythm guitar player. I mean, I've seen some guys that just tear it up on the lead stuff, and then when it's time for someone else to solo, they're lost.
Yeah,
You know, so you got to be balanced. You know, I mean, the rhythm guitar is just as important as the lead is.
Or even
I
more.
teach guitar. I
Yeah.
teach guitar, and I tell all my students that, you know, learn how to be a good rhythm guitar player, and you know, the lead will come. You know,
Comp
but
and fill, absolutely.
rhythm
That's
guitar.
the essence of R&B is comp and fill in a lot of cases, you know.
A lot of comp and a lot of heavy duty rhythm guitar stuff, and then you figure out, well, that guy's just playing chords. Well, okay, yeah, you just try to do that yourself.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Same thing I say about country music. You know, where I've heard people say, "Oh, that's really simple. It's just hillbilly music." And I said, "Okay, fine." And I said, "Let you do it now. Let me see you play one."
Amen. A lot of great country players. It's funny you say almost wore a Paisley shirt because I love Brad Paisley so much. And there's a lot of great players in the country game,
Yeah.
you know, that are pop and not pop, you know. But yeah, huge. I mean, you know, Keith Urban being a guy who, dude, he's a bad man. He's so anyway, Silver Wings. That was like is that the title cut?
It
Or
is.
Okay. How did that come about? Once again, I kind of got like a Santana Allman-esque kind of Bobby Caldwell vibe on the vocals, kind of, you know, what you want to do for love kind of vibe, you know. It was
Yeah, well, it's funny you should mention that song because Jackie Scott, I'm sure you know Jackie Scott.
absolutely. Shout out to Jackie
from Norfolk. She suggested that I actually do that song in my shows, and I kind of learned it, you know, and it kind of got on the back burner for a while. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I'm definitely influenced by that Bobby Caldwell and a whole lot of other R&B singers.
Yeah.
So would you say that you're in a certain genre or just kind of all over?
Silver Wings is definitely a blues rock album.
Right.
When I was playing with Lathan Hill, I had a band before the band. It was fronted by myself called Lathan. I mean, it was called Urban Hill, and Lathan Hill was the other guitarist who was a straight killer blues, you know, straight up blues guitarist.
By the way, shout out to Layton Hill. Does anybody know where he is? Does anybody know where, AKA Pudgy? Does anybody know where he is?
He's living in here in Chesapeake, not far from.
Okay.
Great.
When I met you, it was you guys teamed up together, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I had a band with him for like 4 years, and so that was like straight up blues. I did 2 albums with him, and that was straight up blues. And then I started on my own. That was more like blues rock. But in the past, before I came to this area, I'd done straight up rock albums, pop records. You know, but I think really I ultimately end up coming back to blues rock. That's my favorite thing to do.
Right. Who's do you have a favorite artist of blues?
I have a lot of them, but
I know it's hard to pin it down.
You know, I'd say in my pantheon of, you know, great blues guitar players, I would have to put people that I think just about anybody that played guitar or just like blues would say. You know, I mean, B.B. King, you know, Muddy Waters. You know, Willie Dixon. You know, and then I guess with the rock guitar players, you know, of course, Jimi Hendrix, Johnny Winter, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck.
Oh, all the good ones.
How about this Bonamassa kid? Is he any good? This other guy?
You know, he was a protege of Danny Gatton. It was Danny Gatton that kind of discovered him. I don't know if you know who Danny Gatton is, but he
absolutely.
Excuse me.
Yeah, absolutely. Me and we've had some discussions about Danny. He was from your area in Maryland, right?
Yeah, Prince George's County. Yeah, so you know, he sort of, I guess he saw Joe Bonamassa playing somewhere and sort of helped him get started.
Wow.
When he was a little kid.
When he was a kid, yeah, he was in New York and Long Island, wasn't he?
I'm not really sure what Joe Bonamassa early years.
Yeah.
Or
upstate.
Autobiography of him, you know. But yeah, sure. Prince George's County produced 3 pretty well-known rock guitar players: Link Wray. Yeah, Danny Gatton and Roy Buchanan.
The Telemaster, as they called him. If you've never heard Roy
Prince George's County,
and if you've never heard Roy Buchanan, folks, do yourself a favor and tune in. Yeah.
You know, so, but yeah, I mean, you know, Joe Bonamassa is, you know, another blues rocker, you know.
Yeah.
And he's been very successful at self-producing and marketing himself.
Amen.
I'm happy for him. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
By the
So
way,
anything big coming up for you besides playing at Blue Pete's for
Well,
next year?
Yeah,
Like
that's what
what's
I'm doing this
on the
coming.
horizon?
Yeah, I'm playing at Blue Pete's. Blue Pete's is coming Saturday, the 23rd, as a
Uh-huh.
solo. But I have some festival stuff coming up in the spring. I'm going to be doing the Smithfield Wine and Brew Festival. I think that's like Saturday, April 13th, and
Nice.
be doing Yorktown Blues and Brews in May. I think May 8th or 9th. It's a Saturday.
was that band or just
It's full
solo?
band stuff.
Full
Yeah,
band.
full
Okay, very cool.
Yeah. But I think one of the things that really business wise that hurt me was the medical thing, because for a while there I wasn't able to do booking during a period of the year when I really needed to do it to get late 2023 and early 2024 gigs.
Right.
So kind of out of the box. And so, the booking has gotten a little thin now, and I've been working very hard over the past 6 months to build it back up again.
Sure.
Yeah.
You don't want to get sick if you're an artist, so really, no matter what you do, because, it's almost, once that happens, you come back, but it's like you never played anywhere or did anything. And
We
you gotta
talked about
start
this.
all over
New
from
management, new
scratch.
club, right, exactly. Everything
You gotta
changes.
start all over from scratch. A lot of places that you played at, there's so much turnover in the management of these venues. And well, Sandy, I'm sure you know about all this kind of stuff, and you too, Brian. That the people that were, your contacts when you come back, they're gone.
Yeah.
And, like Paul, who? Huh? What instrument do you play?
What do you play?
Yeah. Who are you?
So used to that. I mean, that happens all the time anyway.
You're pertaining to what?
Yeah, it happens all the time anyway.
Right.
But if you get sick, you get double whammy with it.
Yeah.
And so that's where I don't really have a lot of work right now because I got sick, and so the booking thing went by the wayside while I was recovering.
Yeah.
But it's starting to come back. I got a few really good customers, a couple of really great breweries in Norfolk, Elation Brewing, Norfolk. They've kind of booked me pretty consistently, and I have bookings with them in the new year.
Very cool.
And of course, Blue Pete's.
Yeah.
I do more solo work anymore than I do, and so I do more solo and duo work now than I do band work.
By the way, I just saw Debbie come up. I want to shout out Debbie. She was very kind and generous. There she is again.
Yeah.
And she was very kind and generous, and just she's a big supporter. Goes out and supports a lot of folks in the area. And she's, it was very nice and gave me a lot of condolences about my mom's passing. So anyway, shout out to Debbie real quick.
Yeah. I was really sorry to hear about that, Brian.
So it's all good. Well, matter of fact, if you're tuning into the show tonight, you will see a little tribute at the end.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So you're going to be mom is kind of immortalized with you tonight. That's just.
Oh, that's wonderful. Great. Well, I'm on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Heck yeah, brother. So anyway, no, that's so cool. Like you said, well, I mean, it's like starting over in some cases, but I feel like this is the whole platform. Me and Sandy talked about this. It's kind of like we want the hero. It's your story. Anyone who comes on the show, we want you to be the hero. We want you.
Right, because people just see names all the time. They don't know the people behind it, and they don't know much about you. You plug in and you start playing, and then you're out, and so they don't really know who you are. And it's nice to get a story behind it, because when people can relate to you and feel like they have a relationship to you, they will come and support you for sure.
Yeah, I've noticed that ever since I've had more people come out to my shows as a solo artist or a duo person than the band thing. I really enjoy doing the band thing. If I could do it and not go broke, I would do it all the time. But It's expensive to do the shows, and most venues, they want bands, but they don't really have the venues. They don't really have the budget to pay them properly.
Well, it's interesting. I ran into a club owner this last weekend, and he was telling me that he used to have bands, but he doesn't anymore because he doesn't want to This is how he said it. I don't want to pay the music cartel. So he he said,
ASCAP,
I'm tired of
yeah,
paying the music
Yeah.
cartel. So he's looking for original artists that have only
Well,
original music.
yeah, I can do all original shows, and I have done them.
Right.
And
So
the so-called cover shows that I do, about 1/3 to half of them are my original material. I just don't say that it is, and people think they're listening to deep cuts of successful artists that they hear on the radio.
Right.
And if I get a really strong reaction to one of my songs, as I sometimes do, then I'll say it's an original song. But I don't advertise myself as an original artist, because talk about having a skimpy schedule. I wouldn't have one at all if I said that. Of course, I've kind of said it now, but
right.
I've been able to get away with it.
unless you're Dave Matthews. If you're Dave Matthews, you'd have a great cigar.
Yeah, I was
big
told
joke.
when I came here, well, Paul, this is not, an original town. This is all about cover bands here, and I said, oh, okay. And I just went about doing what I do, which is, playing half of my show original and half cover. And I was, I've been consistently booked ever since I came here, except for the past few months when I had the medical issues.
Right.
So, whoever that owner is, I mean, I wouldn't, ask you to say it on your show, but if you think of it, tell them to call me.
I will.
Absolutely. That's the whole purpose.
I can do up to 3 hours of original material. I have.
Right. And I know several. I mean, we've already interviewed at least 3 bands that have all original stuff. So, or 3 artists so that's good. So you got another one from Australia. There you go. You got a worldwide audience going, Paul.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful. Yeah. I really appreciate you all having me on the show.
Hey, Jason. So, yeah. So that's awesome. So, if you were going to play with somebody here, I mean, who do you like to go out and see play? I mean, because it's nice to know who you like as well, local talent as well.
Well, the bass player and drummer that I work the most with are David Hunter and Dwight Epps, and both of them play in Phase 2. And then David, the bass player, plays in D's Phenomenal Sounds. So I go out and see them, and they're R&B band. Usually where I see them is at the casino at Rivers, because that's a really nice place.
Yeah.
And, it's a great place because they have a professional stage and lighting and a professional sound system and people to do the lights and the sound. When you play in a casino, they have all that stuff. It's not like, in Joe's, bar and grill, where, if you don't bring the lights, you're going to be playing in the dark. And, if you don't bring the PA, then you're going to be singing through a guitar amp. And,
done that.
I'm making it look really pathetic, but a lot of it is really pretty close to that. Luckily, I've gotten to the point where, I'm not a big star, but I don't have to really play those kind of places anymore. Brian, you don't play those kind of places anymore either.
I hate to say it, I'll play 7-Eleven if the money's right. I'll play out in front.
Well, but let me tell you something though. It wouldn't be right.
Matter of fact, me and Steve Forrest, if you're watching, are talking about doing a busking show at the beach. We're just going to do nothing but tips.
Busking at the beach.
He's got a battery powered. He's got one of those like jump boxes that goes for like 24 hours on power. And he's like, dude, I'm gonna set the PA, our pedal boards, lights, the whole 9 yards when we go out there. So no, I mean, we don't like to do it, but it's like in a way, stuff like that's kind of fun. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is still money and it's cash flow and it's our living, right? I mean, this is what you do full time, right?
I don't do it full time. No,
that's what I mean.
I didn't want to be poor, so I never did it full time. I always did it part time, but I was a contractor for many years, and before that, I was in the automobile business. I tried the year I got out of college. I tried making a living as a musician, and I just decided that being poor wasn't for me, and so I didn't go that route. Stayed in music.
That's why I got a bunch of stuff behind me over here, all falling down off my shelf. Got amplifiers up there. They're all in the pawn shop right now.
Some people manage to do it, but most of it, and I know you're an exception, Brian, but most of the people that I know, either that I've come to know since I've come here or knew in the past in other places that I lived, that were so-called professional musicians, like would live in their Uncle Joe or Aunt Minnie's basement, and then they would drive a car that, didn't have any registration or insurance if they had a car, and it goes on from there. No medical insurance, that's not being a professional, so I didn't want to be that professional. So
road. It's still a tough road.
After I got to the end of a year of torture as a so-called professional musician, a friend of mine that was a lifer in the Marine Corps said, "Paul, why don't you get a job?" He said, "You can still play music, and you'll have better equipment, you'll enjoy it more, and you'll have money." And I said, I took his advice and I did it. And I'm really glad that I did. So, So much for that.
Nice.
The picture on my Bandcamp, though, I just want to do a little plug.
Go back to the picture.
Gary Granger, a local bass player, his wife.
Yeah, Gary.
Oh, no, Gary.
He took that picture. It's on the band page. Just wanted everybody to know that.
Shout out to Gary. He's one of those guys.
Shout out to Gary and Kim. That's Kim's picture. I asked her if I could use it, and she very graciously told me that I could. And I have a lot of other photographs on my website, and there's a lot of live music on my website. There's the festivals that I played.
The website's scrolling at the bottom here. If you guys see it,
see that, Paul?
Yeah, and I also put it in the comments if you guys want to go to either of to his Bandcamp or his actual website. So
and there's a YouTube channel too. The live videos on the website, the ones on the YouTube channel are pretty much the same ones, except for that there's more videos on the YouTube channel than there is on the website.
Okay.
And there's all this stuff from the past, like when I played with Lathan Hill. There's a lot of Lathan Hill videos on the.
That's YouTube. Some good stuff, by the way. I mean, I thought that was no offense. I mean, it was just Pudgy. It's like
Yeah, well, you played with them too, Brian. So
I was so him and Paul Warren and Mike Belmar, if you're out there and you're listening.
Yeah, they had a band.
Cloudy Days.
Yeah.
And I was the drunk guy at 21 years old going, "I got a guitar. I think I can play." And Paul Warren said, bring your guitar out to open mic at the Jewish Mother. You might impress yourself. And those words ruined my life. That's why I'm here today. Thank you, Paul Warren.
Yeah, Paul Warren.
Yeah, he
Paul Warren's great. I played with him lots of times. He's a really great player.
Encouraged me to come out
twice, and I was still living in the Philadelphia area, and I sent them a cassette tape of my band, and they hired me, and I played there twice when they were located on the boardwalk.
Yeah.
Wow.
Scotty Moore. Yeah.
Virginia Beach before, I guess. So this was probably around
Miller.
or 91. And I'd never been to Virginia Beach before, and I really kind of liked it. I never realized that I never thought in a million years I'd end up living down here.
So what brought you down here?
My girlfriend.
Okay.
Peggy. Living in the Outer Banks, and she had a jewelry store, and the jewelry store is located in Great Bridge. It's called Harbor Jewelers.
There you go.
Shout out to Harbor Jewelers. By the way, I hope some of these songs were dedicated or written for like "Girl, I Love You." I hope that was for her.
Oh, sure, yeah, of course.
Oh, absolutely. And Touch, maybe, I don't know. I'm just by the way, Touch was one of my favorites on the album. Just because it's it's got the minor walk down, and it once again unison guitar lines that were. And I really like that. The track number 9, I think, was probably like my favorite on the whole thing.
Which song was this?
Touch.
Oh, really? That didn't get included on the CD.
Oh.
I thought it was too pop. You know what I mean? So I didn't.
Was great.
Wow.
I'm glad that somebody liked the song. I personally didn't include it on the CD because I didn't like it.
But you're talking about an ex-girlfriend from Maryland, so I hope
No,
doesn't cause a riff there.
I'm talking about my current girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Best answer ever.
Well, it's a true answer.
See, there we go. So let her know that that Touch I thought was like the
song either.
What's that?
She doesn't like the song either.
I
But
loved it.
not because of the lyrics, but just because she said the same thing that I'm saying. It's just too pop. It doesn't go with the other songs.
But
Well,
sometimes that's what comes across to somebody else. You never know. It's like that's the one thing.
Well, I mean, if somebody wanted to listen to it, I mean, they can if they want. I'm not telling
We all
anybody
listen to Touch. I'm gonna tell you why. Can I tell you why, Paul?
Put it on the CD because all the
The
rest is
minor modulation.
Southern rock and blues and stuff. You know?
Anyway, the minor modulation I like in that song. So, anyway,
with the
Yeah, there was-
musician ear, that's what he was hearing.
yeah,
Yeah, talk about
That's
rhythm
great.
guitar. You know, there's a lot of rhythm guitar stuff on
beautiful.
the album.
Yeah.
You know, and
So tell me your date again that you'll be at Blue Pete's this Saturday,
Saturday the 23rd.
the 23rd, the day
From 6
before
to
Christmas
9.
Eve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then all the other dates are on my website. There's a schedule part of the page on the website, and all the dates in 2024 are on there.
Yeah. So
And I expect that probably after the first of the year, the booking will pick up. You know, usually between Thanksgiving and you know the first of the year, it's pretty dead. I mean, my advice to anybody out there that's new to booking, you know, if you're young and you're starting out with bands, you know, keep on plugging with that booking. Keep sending out your kits, even though you're not getting any answers and you think the world doesn't care, they're not ignoring you. They see it, but they're busy right now.
right. That's correct.
You know, but just keep it up because you need to advertise the most when you're getting the least response.
Ooh, very well put, brother.
The least business.
good.
My aunt said that. My aunt Ross, she said that. Advertise the most when you're getting the least business because that's when
Right.
you need it the most.
That's right. That's right.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Well, great. Well, it's so nice to get to know you, Paul, and some of your music. And
You too, Sandy. Brian,
yeah.
too, so.
By the way, Sandy, what's going on back there? You got a disco ball? What's happening back there? What?
Well, yeah, this is my studio and it's my disco.
Sure.
It's so that I know where my head is supposed to be. It's like my gauge of where my head
Okay.
should be.
All right. I'm in a white room.
I mean, I might be dancing to it during work hours, but don't tell my boss.
Okay. But you work from home?
Yes,
already
I do.
Uh-huh.
nice.
You know, every once in a while they need to spice it up, and I got my got the lights going.
In the white room with black curtains. Anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm in the
Debbie, I appreciate it. So thank you everyone that tuned in and commented tonight. There was many comments tonight. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate you tuning in. If you can share this link and this show out, we would really appreciate it to get Paul more exposure, to get our show more exposure. We really do appreciate you guys.
Where is the show on? Facebook?
It's on Facebook and YouTube. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Instagram, just let me know that you can start live streaming to Instagram. So hopefully I will get that connected soon.
That's
And that's
fantastic. That's
seven-
great.
So the Scene 757 has we're on all the platforms.
That's wonderful.
So subscribe, like, heart,
share.
do all the things. Do all the things.
Yeah.
Do all the clicky things. But we definitely, I want to kind of tone it down a little bit because I really want to talk to Brian. You know, Brian, we are so sorry about your loss. And I know it's been a hard couple weeks for you, a hard month for you. And, you know, you just showing up to do this, it means a lot to us, you know, considering everything you've been through in the last couple weeks. So we want to do a tribute to your mother and her name.
Oh, don't play it now.
What's her name though?
Catherine Dunn. Catherine Elizabeth.
Dunn.
Yes, Catherine Elizabeth. I actually recorded.
God bless her.
Yeah, I actually recorded a song called. By the way, Mom was a classically trained pianist. She got her master's when I don't know, she was like 21 or 22 at Greensboro or something. When she was real young, started playing. You know, she's kind of like one of those savants. And of course, with that, by the way, I do want to mention this with a lot of artists. Mental health, of course, we've had a show on this before, is a big thing. Mom had her demons she fought with for a long time and right up until the end. And it's, you know, she stopped playing because her hands got so bad, so arthritic. Yeah. And her, I want to say, but probably in the last 5 years, but I did manage to get some video. And she played, man, growing up as a kid, God.
Sorry.
everything from Mozart to Marvin Gaye to everything in between. So I managed to get some video of her before she passed 10 years prior. And I sent a clip to Sandy of a Bach concerto. I think it's C major or something. And yeah, so that was from a Christmas, I think 2010 or 2011, something like that. And I sent it to her. And thank you for everybody who's reached out and all the support and all the kind comments and just like, yeah, this is all part of the process for me, by the way, is telling you guys about it, you know, sharing, and because you guys care, and thank you. So
this is your community. So
thank you.
Thank you. And
Stop.
we're going to show her video in just a second in memory of her and tribute to her and how wonderful she was. What a great musical influence she must have had on you, Brian. And we are going to have a New Year's Day show that will
we are. By the way, let's mention that New Year's. That does make me happy. Stephen Anthony from Nashville Nights is going to be on.
Yeah.
And we're excited about that because one, it is the new year. And of course, Stephen Anthony, I mean, I used to play in a band with him called Murphy's Law, a country band. So they're, you know, pretty cutting edge right now. And they got a lot of cool things happening. And we'll talk more about that later. But, you know, like I said, tonight's Paul's night.
Paul, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
It's his thing, his story. Yeah, brother. And keep, I'm glad to see you healthy and up and doing your thing. And you know, any way we can help you or Sandy can help you get booked or pass your name on, you know, she will. So.
That's right.
Great. Thank you very much.
That's right. Thank you all that tuned in. And I'm going to show the video at the end, and you won't see our faces anymore. So you guys have a wonderful evening. And let me set up this video for Catherine Dunn.
There she is, Miss Technical over there.
So hold on one second. And we're going to do this.
2010. Wow. Yep. I made this on a... Bach Prelude in C major.